Awesome. So hi guys, I am Emma Sophie and I'm going to be your instructor today. I am going to mute you guys for now just to make sure that we can all have like a very restful and quiet class today. And I'm going to try to remind myself how to do that because technology. Okay, cool. Okay, so I muted you guys and I'm going to begin teaching and begin with a couple announcements for today's class. So I'm going to keep you on mute, but if at any point you guys need to, talk to me or anything, just unmute yourself, go for it. I'm also going to be recording today's class, but you guys will not be in the frame whatsoever. It's just so that other people can take the class in the future. So no worries about that. And about the actual class, this is a yoga class, so I recommend having a yoga mat, some water to stay hydrated, and also a block or a block-sized object. And of course, I encourage you guys to listen to your body, make any modifications. I'll show you guys bus stops along the way. So if you don't feel, super warm, super flexible today, absolutely fine. Listen to your body. Awesome. What else? I'm going to also provide you guys with a Spotify playlist if you would like. And oh goodness, and I lost the link. So let me grab that one more time. And I'm going to put it in the chat so that if you guys want to listen to some music during today's class, you can do so. Awesome, that should be showing up. And you guys can listen to it so because you guys are muted. So no worries about other people hearing you. All right, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a waiver and informed consent that I was told to give you guys, just so we're all on the same page. So in order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of class. Participation in this class is completely voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you move nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you are participating in a yoga class, which we are, or any class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience any pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. Awesome. So I'm going to get started teaching today's class. I would encourage you guys to turn on your video, but if you don't want to, absolutely fine. And we're just going to get started. So whenever you guys are ready, we're just going to start by finding a comfortable space on our mat. And we're just going to find a comfortable and strong mountain pose or Utkatasana. And we're going to start by finding the alignment, so building up from the ground upwards. We're going to find the 3 points of the foot, so underneath the pinky toe, the big toe, and your heel. Good. You can maybe hear mine cracking. I apologize. Good, and maybe you want to go between those and shift your weight between those areas. Just become very grounded with the floor today. And we're gonna lift up through both of the legs equally, making sure that there's a micro bend in the knee to make sure that we're taking care of our knees today. Healthy knees. And lengthening up through the spine, engaging the core at all times during our practice. Lengthening up, maybe we grow that extra inch. And externally rotating those shoulders, relaxing. Good. And allowing the heart to shine forward and the top of the crown of your head to shine upwards. Wonderful. And maybe our eyes come to a gentle gaze in front of us, or if you're comfortable, you can come to a comfortable close. Good. And we're just going to assume the role of the observer right now. So just observing your breath and observing your mind and your body right now. We're going to do a little bit of a pranayama practice. So starting to slow down the breath wherever it is right now. It may be light and shallow. It may be very slow and deep. We're just trying to look at our breath without any judgment, just breathing, existing, and just appreciating the fact that we stood on our mat and we stepped on our mats today. Good. So we can have our hands at our side. We can place them at heart center if you'd like. You can even place one in your abdomen and one in your heart, whatever speaks to you right now. And we're just going to start by slowing down the breath wherever it is right now. Deepening the breath. Maybe your lungs expand a little bit more outwards than it does normally throughout the day. And we're going to start by exhaling all of the breath in your lungs. And we're going to take an inhale for 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wonderful. And you can return to a regular breath cycle. Anything that speaks to you right now. And noticing maybe how it's a little bit different after our stepwise pranayama practice this evening. I was going to say morning, it is certainly not morning. Good. And just finding a comfortable breath that suits your body and your mind right now. Great. And we're going to bring our hands to heart center. And we're going to start to think of an intention that we'll set for today's practice. And if you're new to yoga, an intention can be anything you want to dedicate today's practice to. It could be a mantra, it can be a person, a place, a color, anything you want to dedicate your practice to today. And if you would like to use mine today, mine is going to be to work in, not work out. Wonderful. And when we have this intention set for today's practice, we're going to take a big inhale to inhale lots of love in. And exhale lots of love out. Good. Letting go of everything that is not on our mat today. Wonderful. We're going to start introducing some movement into our body. We're going to draw our feet into one another. So our feet are less than hip width apart. They're standing right next to each other. We're going to inhale our arms up above, palms to touch. We're going to gently start to lateral stretch over to one side, making sure to lengthen through both sides and not crunching the oblique, but just lengthen up towards one side. And lengthen back up, neutral spine. And lengthen over to the other side. Breathing through it. And back up. We're going to do this one more time. So over to the first side, lengthening through both sides. Engaging that core, it'll make it a little bit easier. And exhale back up. And inhale over to the second side. And inhale back up. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna keep everything where it is and just bring our hands into a Steeple Mudra up above our head. So it's just the index fingers together. We're gonna make tiny little circles on the ceiling, keeping our gaze right in front of us, making tiny little circles, trying only to move that upper body, trying to keep all the rest of it still. And we'll come back to stillness and reverse the direction, drawing tiny little circles. And we can find some stillness here. We're going to bring our feet back to hip width apart and slowly flat back down into a forward fold. Our first forward fold for today's practice. Relax your head, relax any tension in your neck. And making sure to have a generous micro bend in your knees. We're going to lift one of our feet and place our hand underneath, and then do the same with the other foot and hand. Remembering to relax the head. This is hands to feet or gorilla pose. You can relax your head. You can shake your head yes, maybe shake your head no. And really generously bend into those knees. And while you're here, you can actually take it a step further and just massage your feet with your hands or your hands with your feet. When I first heard that said, I thought they were crazy, but I actually have learned to love it. Good, and we can slowly just remove one hand and then one foot. Good, and we can halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. And then inhale all the way back up again to our standing pose, hands at heart center. Wonderful. We're going to do a couple chair poses here. So if you have a block with you, absolutely use that. Go for it. If you don't want to use a block, that's okay too. So we're going to start just by doing a regular chair pose, Utkatasana, with our hands at heart center. And I'll show you from the side, but you can stay wherever you are. We're just going to feet are hip width apart, and we're just going to send our hips down and back, lengthening up through the spine and engaging the core as we do so. So whenever you're ready, you can just bend back as if you're sitting in a chair. And just breathe into it. Good. And our heart is shining open. I'll face towards you guys. Our heart is shining open, but we're not cranking our neck up to look up at the ceiling. If our cervical spine is going this way, we'll just follow it. Good, and on your next exhale, we can come back up. Maybe shake it out a little bit. Maybe you're stoking some heat. Wonderful, and if you do want to use a block, you can place it right in between your quads here, just to make it a little bit easier. Wonderful. All right, for our next one, we're just going to do the exact same thing. If you'd like to, you can actually bring your hands up above for a little bit more of a challenge. You can also come onto your toes and lift up your heels if you'd like to. All up to you though. When you're ready, we're going to exhale into our chair pose, making sure that we're using our core, lengthening through the spine, and we're not cranking our neck up. Good. And slowly and deeply breathing here. It can be very easy to just forget how to breathe here, especially because we're in a deep and balancing pose here. But it makes it so much better and so much easier if you just breathe, I promise. Good, and on your next exhale, we can come back up to standing. We're gonna do one more of these. Maybe shake it out. Also, I forgot to say, but I'm not going to cue water breaks today, but if you would like to grab some water at any point, go for it. Wonderful. All right, this is our last chair of today's practice. Make it count. If you'd like to, you can come up onto your toes, whatever you want to do. One big inhale together, and exhale into your chair pose. Maybe the chair sinks a little bit deeper and you get a little bit more of a quad stretch or quad workout. And breathing through it. You can do it, I know. I know it burns a little bit. Good. I'm gonna stay here for 3, 2, 1, and on your exhale, slowly with lots of control, come back up. And you can start to shake out your hands, your feet, whatever feels good. Wonderful. All right, so we're done with our chair series. And we're going to go into our Warrior 2 series. So I'm going to start at the top of my mat in a strong mountain pose. And we're going to use all of that alignment that we learned at the beginning of class. So the micro bend in the knees, the 3 points on the feet, lengthening up, use the core, all of that good stuff. One slow and big breath cycle here. Good, we're gonna bring our hands to heart center, engage the core and send that right foot back on a 45-degree angle. So we're in a Warrior 2 stance. It's nice and deep. Our weight is right in between our feet. We have a nice 90-degree generous bend here. We're going to inhale our arms in front and back of us. Maybe we check in back of us to see where our arm is, make sure it's where we think it is. We're going to breathe through it. When you're ready, let's flip that front hand and slowly send it to the sky, lengthening up through that arm. Good. And when you're ready, we can flip that back. So we're back to parallel to the mat. And we can tuck that right or that left hand in. And so the right above. So this is a nice 180-degree angle. So the right side of our body is a nice line. And when you're ready, we can bring our left hand down and our right goes above for bent knee triangle. Your gaze can be right in front like this, or if you'd like to, if your cervical spine is nice and warm today, we can look up at the sky. And when you're ready, let's inhale and straighten that front leg. So we're in triangle here. And take some time to just breathe into the stretch. It's a hammy stretch. It's a good core workout. And we can rain down that right hand to the mat. Stay here for a moment. And then lift the left arm up to the ceiling, reaching up. And we can rain that left arm down, place it on the inside of your foot, and the right hand comes back up. And here we can bend that front knee and send our upper body back up. We're in a warrior two stance. Maybe we feel nice and strong, maybe a little stronger than we first started. And bring our hands to heart center and float back up to our mountain pose. Wonderful. All right, so we're going to repeat right what we just did with our left side. So coming back to our mountain pose. Cleansing breath cycle to transition. We use our core to send that left foot back on a 45-degree angle, warrior two stance. And we're gonna inhale our arms up, one in front, one in back. Maybe check in back of us to make sure it's where we think it is. Bending generously into that front knee. Maybe we send that right hand towards the ceiling. Lengthening up through that right side of our body. Maybe bending a little bit more into that stretch. Breathing here. And sending that hand back down to parallel. And here we're going to tuck that right hand in and send the left overhead. This is extended side angle. Feeling like there's just a long line on that left side of your body, reaching to something above. And when you're ready, we can send that right hand above and the left above and the right can come down to the mat. And once again, the gaze can go right in front like so, or if your cervical spine is warm and healthy, you can look up to the ceiling. Breathe in here. And when you're ready, you can rain that hand down, pause for a moment, and send that right hand above. Engaging the core, remembering to breathe. And when you're ready, we can rain that hand back down, place it on the inside of that right foot, and send the left above again. And when you're ready, you can bend that knee for bend knee triangle and let your hands come back up. We're in our strong warrior two stance. Maybe you feel a little bit stronger than we first were. When you're ready, you can bring your hands to heart center, float back up to mountain. Good. And maybe we take a moment to shake it out. Good. Maybe grab some water, maybe adjust your clothes. You know how it goes. All right. We're going to do our pyramid pose, our pyramid sequence. So we're going to start at the top of our mountain once again. Cleansing breath cycle to transition here, soaking in our warrior two stance that we just did and preparing ourselves, our mind and our body for this pyramid. Good, so we're standing in our strong mountain and just sending our right foot back for the first side of today. Making sure that we're on train tracks here, engaging that core, and it's a medium stance. It's much less than the warrior two stance. And when you're ready, we can inhale up, palms to touch, lengthening up, maybe grow that extra inch. And slowly start to continue all the way down, hinging at the hip crease, relaxing the head, relaxing the neck. And when you're down here, you can just frame your foot with your hands. Relaxing your head, relaxing your neck. Good. Breathe in here. If you'd like to, I invite you to find some dynamic movement here, which might include bending your knees and shifting your weight. And when you're ready, we can come back to stillness. And we can bring our palms back to touch, lengthen up, flat back up to our standing pose. Good, we can bring our hands in front of us like so. And we're going to peel back with our left arm first. So we're just gonna lengthen through and twist that spine. So we're twisting from the rib cage, not the shoulders, not the hips. Engaging the core here. And we can bring that left hand back to the front and peel back on the right. This is an open sensation. Breathe into it. It may feel a little bit strange if this is new to you, but just embrace it. We're going to peel back to the center. And then inhale and exhale into the left. We're peeling back on the left now. Maybe you can twist a little bit deeper into your stretch now that you've been here before. And then we're going to peel back to center. Bring our hands back to heart center and float up to mountain. Awesome. We're going to go over to the left side so you know exactly where we're headed. Starting in our mountain pose. Inhale and exhale to cleanse our mind, cleanse our body. We're going to use our core to just send the left foot back on our railroad tracks. Good. We're going to inhale our arms up, palms to touch, lengthen up and grow that extra inch. And slowly flat back down until our pinkies touch the mat. And once they touch the mat, we can frame our foot with our hands and relax the head. Releasing any tension that we hold in our neck. And if you'd like to, I invite you to find some dynamic movement here. Once again, it could just be some movement here, or if you want to stay perfectly still, go for that too. But just remembering to breathe, so important here. Good. And when you're ready, we can bring our palms back to touch, lengthen up, and come all the way back up. Good, and hands back to heart center. We're gonna send them forward. We're going to peel back on the right side first. So this is a nice twist. Remember twisting from the rib cage. And then we're gonna peel back up to center. And peel on the left. Remembering that open sensation may be new, but it's something to embrace. We're gonna peel back up to the front and peel back on the right. Maybe we're twisting a little deeper this time into our stretch. And when you're ready, we can peel back up to the front. Bring our hands to heart center and float up to mountain. Wonderful. We're done with our Warrior 2 and our Pyramid series. If you would like to shake out your feet, shake out anything you'd like to, do a jumping jack, grab some water, go for it. And we're going to move on to our Warrior 3, which is a balancing stick. So we're going to meet whenever you're ready. Don't rush it. Listen to your body. Whenever you're ready, we're going to take a cleansing breath in the middle of our mat in our strong mountain pose. We're going to take a micro step forward with the left foot. We're going to lengthen up through our body and start to flex through that right foot and just take it off the mat. Micro bend in that left knee. And slowly, if you want to stay here, this is perfect. This is a full expression of the pose. But if you'd like to, you can start to hinge at that hip crease and just continue on your way down. Letting the gaze follow and maybe find a speck of dirt on your mat so you can focus on it. We call this our drishti focal point. And we're turning down those toes so that they're looking at the mat, keeping our hips nice and even. Breathing through it. And we can slowly come back up to our standing pose and let that right foot come down with lots of control. Wonderful. We're going to do the same on the left side. So we're going to come back to our mountain and take a micro step forward with the right foot this time. Lengthen up, flex through the left foot. And if you'd like to stay here, that's wonderful. If you'd like to keep going, engage the core, micro bend in the right knee. And we're going to hinge down as much or as little as you'd like to go. Making sure to dial down those left toes to the mat. And we're going to stay here, but we're going to keep breathing. We're going to engage the core. You're going to stay here for one more slow breath cycle. You can do it. I know you can. And we can slowly come back up. And release the left foot back down to the mat. And if you want to, you can shake it out. Do some joint freeing exercises here. So just relaxing out the ankles. All right, and we're going to go into our head to knee, our standing head to knee, which is another balancing pose. With our hands at heart center, we're just going to shift our weight into the left foot. Engage the core and let that right foot come into a 90-degree bend off the mat, flexing through that foot. If you'd like to stay here, that's wonderful. This is a full expression of the pose. If you'd like to, you can also start to just kick out in front of you and find any, if it's not 90 degrees, that's fine. If you want to stay right here, that's great. Just making sure that our hips are nice and square. If you want to keep your hands here, that's wonderful. If you'd like to, you can bring them above. And we're just going to stay here for a few slow breath cycles. Take your time. Breathe through it. And when you're ready, you can bring your hands back to heart center. Come back to 90 degrees. And bring your foot back down. Maybe you relax it. Maybe you shake it out a little bit. And we're going to go over to the left side. So coming back to our mountain with a slow cleansing breath. We're going to shift our weight into the right foot this time. And come up onto, bring up the left onto a 90-degree bend. Flexing through that foot. Micro bend in the right knee. If you'd like to stay here, that's wonderful. If you'd like to, you can start to kick out that foot, making sure that the hips are nice and square. If you'd like to, you can bring your hands right here, or you can let them come above for a little bit more of a challenge here. And breathing through it. And staying here for just a couple more breath cycles. Great. And whenever you're ready, you can bring your hands back to heart center and bring your leg back into a 90 degree and send it back to the mat. Maybe you roll out the ankle. Maybe shake it out a little bit. Good. All right. So we're just going to, maybe you need to take a 90 degree turn and just find a wide stance here with, just a nice wide stance with your weight right in between your feet. And you can bring your hands to your hip creases. You can bring them out to the side. You can bring them above, hands at heart center, whatever you'd like to do. Just make sure that your feet are parallel with one another. And we're just going to engage the core and forward fold slowly with lots of control here. Maybe we pause through tabletop and continue on our journey. And when you get down to your bottom, you can place your palms on the mat. Maybe you want to push away and look above. Or if you'd like to, you can bring it a little bit deeper into a stretch. And here it really is a choose your own adventure. Here are your options. You can reach for your other elbow and just swing like a rag doll. You can also go into a side lunge here. So generously bending into that right knee and then the left. And if you'd like to, you can also walk your hands through and feel a little bit deeper of a stretch here. So I'll give you a few slow breath cycles to do what speaks to you in your body today. I'm going to be doing the side lunge if you'd like to join me. And I'll tell you when to switch. And if you're lunging, let's switch. And wherever you are, let's come back to the center. Maybe take another moment here, just relax everything out, do what speaks to your body. And we're gonna bring our hands where they were earlier, if they were at your hip creases, heart center, whatever speaks. We're gonna engage the core and flat back up, maybe pausing through our tabletop and continuing on our journey. And while you're here, you can just heel toe, back up to standing. Good, I absolutely love wide-legged forward fold. This is something that you can do on your own at any point. I love it so much. All right, so we're going to go into our tree pose or Vrikshasana. So this is our final balancing pose of today. We're going to start in our strong mountain pose, hands at heart center. Cleansing breath to transition. We're going to shift our weight into the left foot. We're going to bring that right foot in and externally rotate it while still on the mat, keeping our hips nice and forward as if they were headlights on a car. If you'd like to stay here, this is a full expression of the pose. If you'd like to, you can start to bring it onto your shin, or with the help of your hands, you can place it above your knee. And when I lost my balance, and that's okay, we just go back up. Good, and making sure that our hips are nice and even with each other. I'm stumbling over my words. And we're just making sure that the foot does not go right into the knee. Good. If you'd like to, you can bring your hands up, grow your branches upwards. And breathing through it. And when you're ready, you can bring our hands back through heart center. And internally rotate that knee and send our foot back downwards. And maybe just roll out the ankle. Good. And we're going to go on to the left side. We're going to just shift our weight into the right foot. Bring in our left foot, externally rotate it, making sure that the hips aren't going outwards. They're still facing front. And you can place it on your shin, you can keep it on the floor, or you can place it above your knee. And engaging your core and finding a drishti or focal point here. We can send our hands above, grow our branches. Breathing here. Nice deep breaths here. Remembering our pranayama practice at the beginning of today. And when you're ready, we can bring our hands back down through heart center. Internally rotate that leg and place it back on the mat. Maybe we roll out the joints. Good. And this is the end of our balancing poses. We're actually going to come onto the mat right now. So just finding a comfortable seated position. If you'd like to yogi squat your way down, feel free to do so as well. We're going to find a reclined bound angle. So we're basically going to be finding a butterfly, as we call it in some kids yoga classes, but we're going to be laying down. So I encourage you guys to start in a dandasana, just like so, and slowly just extend your upper body and let it come onto the mat. So find a comfortable laying down corpse pose. And you can bring your feet up. Our knees are gonna touch, our feet are gonna touch. Your hands can come down so your palms are on the mat. And we're going to bring our hips and externally rotate our knees until they are close to the mat. And we're just in a reclined bound angle here, or Supta Baddha Konasana. And if you'd like to, you can bring your eyes to a gentle close or a soft gaze. And just melt into the stretch. Every time you exhale, you just melt a little bit deeper into the stretch, a little bit deeper into the mat. And it's so, so important in yoga and everything physical to just remember the difference between pressure and pain. So if you're feeling a little bit of pressure in your hips, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, that's good. Until it becomes painful. That's when we want to stop. Really the key here is just listening to your body. All right. And using our hands, we can just guide our knees back up to close, internally rotating those hips. And we can just roll onto one side and come back up to a comfortable seated position. We can tuck our feet under, come onto all fours for a tabletop position. Good. And our alignment here is going to be our wrists are underneath our shoulders, our knees are underneath our hips. And if we were to look in between our knees, we can't see our feet because they're directly behind. Good. And starting with just a natural spine here, natural straight spine here. We're going to take a cleansing breath cycle. And we're going to do some cats and cows. We're going to start by inhaling and drawing the gaze upwards. The navel comes down to the mat. This is our cow position. And on your exhale, we can draw the navel upwards. The gaze comes down to the mat. This is our cat pose. We're going to inhale again for cow. And exhale for cat. And we're going to inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. Beautiful. And feeling any other dynamic movement that we would like to find. You can come between, shifting the weight between your hands and your knees. If you'd like to, you can find some lateral movement. And coming back to stillness and our neutral spine, we're going to tuck our toes And just lift off the knees for a floating tabletop. We're just engaging the core here. And when you're ready, you can send the hips all the way up into downward dog. And this is our first down dog of the day. So if you'd like to, you can just walk out your dog. Meaning just walking out your feet, going between straight and bent, alternating between. And then coming to bring your heels down to the mat and pressing them in. And just pressing into that lower back stretch. Good. And trying to keep our hands and our feet right where they are. We're just going to shift our weight into a plank here. Good. You can stay here as long or as short as you like. And when you're ready to be done, let's just meet on the ground. If you want to stay up there, go for it. In the meantime, let's untuck the toes. And then we're going to plant our hands beneath our shoulder blades, or our shoulder heads, sorry. And we're going to draw in those elbows into one another. And our third eye, or our forehead, is on the mat. We're going to do some cobras and then some locusts here. We're going to start with some cobras, drawing in those elbows towards the ribs. We're going to take one big inhale together, one exhale together, and on your next inhale, we're just going to lift the upper body off the mat, trying not to use our hands, so that if you wanted to, you could just wiggle your fingers at me. And then we're going to lengthen through the spine, so we're not cranking up our neck like we did or like we should not have done in our chair pose. Lengthening up, and on your next exhale, we can release down. Inhale and exhale the transition. On your next inhale, we're going to do this again. Lengthening up equally through the front and the back of our cervical spine. And exhale back down to the mat. And for this last one, we're going to start with this baby cobra that we've been doing. And then if you'd like to, you can press through into our king cobra pose. We're going to start by inhaling off the ground, lengthening up. And when you're ready, you can press into our hands and just press upwards. Beautiful. And remembering to breathe here. And we're going to slowly bring our upper body back down to the mat. We're going to extend our hands to our side. We're going to do one locust here. So we're just going to engage the core and bring the feet together and just lift them off the mat as if we were doing a cobra, but for our lower body. Squeezing in the legs together. And exhaling back down to the mat. Good. And we're going to bring our hands back next to our chest and push ourselves back through tabletop. And then just bring our legs around and to the front to find a comfortable seated position. Our time is winding down together. So we're just going to find a comfortable seated cross-legged position. If you'd like to, you can also find our bound angle Baddha Konasana, or if you have a lotus pose, you can go for that as well. Anywhere that your body is speaking to you right now. Breathing in and out, slowing down that heart rate, slowing down that respiratory rate. And once again, we assume the role of the observer. We turn inwards. We reflect on our intention for today's practice, which, if you used mine, was to work inwards, not to work out. And we circle back into our breath. Notice how our body feels after today's practice. Maybe we feel a little bit more loose. Maybe we feel a little bit more relaxed. Just taking this time to notice what feels different, what feels good. Wonderful. And we're just going to bring our hands to our heart center. Take one big inhale together, lots of love in, and exhale together, lots of love out. Wonderful. We can bow our heads together. Namaste, you guys. Thank you so much for taking my class today. It was an honor to lead you all through it. Thank you so much for everything. You guys are wonderful students. I do teach every week from 5:30 to 6:15 on Sundays, so I would love you if you guys were to join me again. Same Zoom link as always. And if you guys want to stay back and chat a little bit, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would love to speak with you. And if not, just have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much again. All right.